Greetings, Goddess Body, Mind, Spirit community. This is Tyra Omilade, your Goddess Guru, and I love helping women align with their life purpose using the power of ancient wisdom and the Goddess centered lifestyle. Today, I want to talk a little bit about the United States Pluto return. The Pluto return is sort of like the birthday of Pluto, it's a rebirth period. Pluto does have to do with rebirth. And the fact that we are alive at a time of a Pluto return is incredible. The Pluto return is, it takes about 240 years or so for there to be a Pluto return. So we'll never see this again. No one alive will ever see this again. Okay. So, part of the reason I think it's important to talk about the Pluto return is Pluto creates a lot of destruction and it creates, it's like this, everything is just falling apart. And I want you to think about the Pluto return being the same as like when a woman is giving birth to a baby. Right before she can actually push the baby out, she goes through what is called transition. And transition feels worse than the first part of the labor when a woman has the painful contractions to open the door for the baby to come out. And so those are very, very painful to get that cervix open. But there's nothing like the pain of transition because the contractions where you push the baby out is a different feel. It's a different kind of contraction because now the door is open and the goal is to push the baby out. So in order to switch from opening the door for the baby to exit out of, the middle part is the transition to get the baby actually pushed out. That transition feels for a lot of women like hell. For women who describe it that way. I know we're all different, but the majority of us will describe transition as hell. And it's kind of like that's when the woman goes into this energy of surrender and she just kind of gives up because it's complete and utter chaos on the inside. I remember the 2 times that I went through transition, they were a little bit different. The first time I went through transition, it took a little bit longer, and then with my second son, transition was very quick. But with both of them, it was just like, "What is going on?" Like, everything seemed wrong, right? So that's how it is when there's a Pluto return. It'll seem like everything seems wrong. Everything is in disarray, you know? And so I want to come on and talk about that because though this is talking about the world, it affects us. And a commitment that I made was part of the reason I got into astrology is sometimes spiritual people act like, whatever's going on in the world doesn't matter. There's almost like this energy of inferiority. Like, that's like, I don't care nothing about that. But I come from a culture and a tradition of activism. And so I care. And I felt distraught with the 2016 election. And it was just like, how has this happened? And there's no spiritual teachers talking about it. Sometimes you'll even hear some spiritual people don't even vote. That's how it used to be. Things may have changed now, but I just was blown away by lack of it. But the astrologers were the ones that were talking, and they helped me to see how how that election was possible. Why there were many astrologers who had predicted that that particular person in 2016 was going to win. Um, and now that I know astrology, I can see it. I was using my oracles and my oracle actually had told me that the person who won in 2016 was in fact the person who was gonna win, and I was just like, denial. I was in Egypt on denial river. Um, and so if you're not interested in this, just go ahead and click off. But I know there are a lot of people who get distraught and it gets confusing, and it just feels like we've been in a pressure cooker for so long here in the United States, and I just want to address it. One thing I'm gonna do that a lot of astrologers don't do is tell you my political leanings. Y'all already know, most of y'all already know I swing left, okay? I swing far left. I'll say more than anything, I'm pro democracy. I will also say I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything, although I want to give a vision, astrologically, a vision. But you're gonna know. I mean, like I already told you, I didn't like who won in 2016. So you already know how I'm leaning, right? So I do want to just be transparent about that, but that's not why I'm looking. That's not why I'm sharing. Now, this is why I look. It's like, okay, I hate what I'm seeing. What's going on in the USA chart? Oh my God, are we gonna make it? But I'm sharing today because some people may need like hope. And some people may just be interested in this, but it also shows what's possible with astrology. I'm going to combine this with teachings that I have received from the Metu Neter because that has become more and more prominent for me uh, as I watch everything that is happening. It's completely and totally fascinating. So let's go on an adventure of where we are and where we're headed with USA. I am just honest with you all. I so badly am ready to be in a different time. One of the things that I have been talking about, and I may sound like a broken record with this, but is 2023, according to this astrological teaching that I've learned, is the bottom because astrology has these, or the way we describe it is society as a whole has these times where there's a decline and then you get to the bottom and then you begin to ascend out of that bottom, that valley time. And it's kind of like this is like the lowest that we see society and humanity and consciousness at, but then it begins to rise again. It's beautiful, it's a part of the cycles of the world, of life. And it is the way the divine energy has set things up. There's going to be the decline, and then there's going to be, you hit the bottom, and then you go up to the top and you peak, and then you come back down. Um, in astrology, we talk about epics, and there's like the age of Pisces, age of Aquarius, and each one brings like a new evolutionary state of the world, not just of humanity, but of the world. There's so many energies that are involved in this existence. And so 2023 is the bottom. And so that's just kind of like coinciding with this Pluto return. It just so happens, or maybe the United States, I believe everything has intelligence. When this United States chart got put into place, there, it built into it was that the Pluto return would happen, like the last little bit of the Pluto return would happen in this downturn of 2023, that a lot of this Pluto return would happen with the world being reset in 2020. It's intelligence. And to a certain degree, if I have to boil down anything that I would say, it is that I have finally truly come to a place where I can see that there is an intelligence that is at work, and it is going to do what it does. There is something about the collective intelligence, or the collective consciousness, I should say, that is going to play its role in the direction of where's your country going to go, where is the world going to go. And the collective does play a part in it. And I that's one of the reasons why I think it is so important for spiritual teachers, astrologers, and people who maybe are not the norm for people to go to and learn about what's happening in the world. It's important for us to speak, um because it's all about, okay, like, let's talk about our consciousness. Let's not just talk about what's happening. Let's talk about how can we, play our part in the quantum field where it goes out. My thoughts of pro democracy, my thoughts of people having equality and people having food and people being able to self actualize. If you want to be rich, be rich. If you want to just live modestly, I'm sending that out into the quantum field, and it does make a difference. And it's the critical mass. As long as the critical mass stays, whatever the critical mass is, it is going to for sure. begin to influence things. And so, but I'm telling you, sometimes as a human, it's just like, I don't understand what's going on. But because of astrology and me having the oracles, I just keep getting the understanding that the infinite intelligence of the universe, by whatever name you want to call it, is truly operating. It is in action. So we can always boil it down to that. So, yeah, we're in the last parts of the Pluto return. When we look at Pluto, is at the 27th degree of Capricorn. And right now, let's see here, we are in November. You can see Pluto is at 28 degrees. So it left off the 27th degree right at the end of October. Hallelujah. Woo, woo. Woo. Okay, now it's on the 28th degree. And we're going to start off 2024 on the 29th degree. So the degree is very important. Where is Pluto? Because as long as it's within 2 degrees of 27 degrees of Pluto, we're going to feel it. So thankfully, in January, Pluto goes into Aquarius, and I probably will completely and totally start complaining at some point about this, but I'm just ready for this to be like, we need to get this resolved. So right now, I'm so happy. Like, please, I'm ready for Pluto to go back into Aquarius, and let's settle into our new world. But what I love about Aquarius is that Aquarius is all about it's the people's sign. Like the United States is kind of sort of like an Aquarian society, allegedly, because in principles, like in lip service, we should have a democracy. People should vote. We should take a vote, and whatever the majority of the people vote for, that's what we want. Let's give everybody a voice, equality, equal rights. It's kind of like, this place where you're allegedly supposed to be free to um you know say what you want to say. If you don't like the president, you can say that. Freedom of the press, and um people should be able to live however they want. And we kind of see times where we have that happen, and then like there's this regression, but there's not been anything like, well, let me just, as a Black person, there's been a whole lot of stuff like what we're seeing now, but in modern times. My people come from the time when my I had ancestors who were enslaved here, so we know it was way worse back then. But in modern times, it seems like there has not quite been what we've seen like during the Pluto return. And all of this is meaningful. I just kind of feel like the Pluto return has just like brought the true truth up. Even when we think about during the year where the pandemic had settled in and everybody's at home and we all watching TV, watching something that Black folks been watching forever. A Black man killed by the police, just like everyone sees it, and just all that social unrest that it brought up or whatever. It's like everything is being dug up. The worst of the worst is coming up and out. Whereas Aquarius is kind of like, we're going to get together. We're going to be, we're going to have activism going. We're going to have equal rights. Everyone should be able to have food, clothing, and shelter, that kind of thing. So that's one of the reasons I'm excited, because Capricorn is kind of like tradition, and it's a pyramid. The ones at the top it's the power is concentrated at the top, whereas in Aquarius the power is spread out amongst the people. And so, a lot of what we're seeing, the social unrest, because it's Pluto and Capricorn. Look at our government. It's just like, so on so many levels, from the local government up to the federal government. And we already got this flavor of Pluto. So, you know, one of the first things that happened was Roe v. Wade was reversed. And so what has happened? People are using the power of the vote in their states because of that. Pluto already went into Aquarius. So we already had that Aquarius infusion. People are going to vote in mass numbers and saying, we want women to have bodily autonomy, stay out of women's healthcare. Government, we're not having this, right? But it's just like all this battling. Okay, so I also see Capricorn as to a certain degree, like the corporations and the ultra wealthy, and how disempowered the uh, blue collar workers, or just the middle America has just been so disenfranchised. Like, you get fired for any reason, just lack of workers' rights, people not making enough money. Well, ever since the pandemic, we had the quiet quitting, and we've just been like, nah, bro, we're not doing that anymore. We're tired of it. And to me, it was a little funny when people were like mad because folks didn't want to work for, just a little bit of money at a restaurant after they were off for the pandemic, realizing, oh, wait a minute, there's another way to live. I want to do that. But what I have noticed is just the tremendous gains that we have made through the what is it called? Through the Teamsters. I don't know why my mind is losing me. But, oh, hold on 1 second. Let me take this down. I want to just start typing this in to see unions. Lord have mercy. I don't know why I couldn't remember that. Unions. Yeah. Ah, it has been so glorious watching the unions. The unions, that's Aquarius. It's like we should have bargaining rights as, employees, right? So the unions have made such great strides. So it's like we're seeing, like, all this back and forth going on. And then when we just look at the MAGA Republicans and how, in my opinion, they represent 1776, baby. I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say the MAGA Republicans would love for us to go back there and see. That is the energy that set this country. Lip service on who gets what rights until everyone's like, hold up, give me my rights. Well, this particular set, and it's probably people who don't go by that, but we just gonna say MAGA Republicans. They represent the original setting of this country, and now that part has to be here. But guess what? We are at the table too. So this is one of the reasons I'm talking about it, because it's kind of like, do you care about this country? You did not have a say so in the beginning. We are the ones that setting the tone. Just like people set the tone back when this country was first, declared as a country, that we are the ones who are setting it now. And so, as much as it bothers me to see what is going on with the MAGA Republicans, and uh the one who is leading their ticket more than likely will become the leader of their party for president, sounding like Hitler, and just overtly racist, and just so leaning in the direction of dictatorial. Because we actually know, I mean, anybody that ain't white and male, especially white male with money, knows that there's a dictatorial tone that this country has always had. And so it's kind of like, I guess it has to be here because it needs to be addressed. But what I'm beginning to notice is, and this is where I'm gonna bring in the topic of, oh, I want to pull up the picture. Tahuti. That's pretty much how my Tahuti card looks. That's not my Tahuti card. But when you use these cards for so long, they start wearing out. I'm gonna have to order me a new deck. I don't want a new deck, but if anything ever happened to my deck, I would not be happy. I'm gonna say it that way. But anywho, Tahuti. So First and foremost, Tahuti is sort of like what I've been talking to you all about. Actually, that's the card that spoke when I was like, okay, in 2016, who's going to win? Is it going to be Clinton or is it going to be, I say Trump? Is it going to be Trump? And I did not get a favorable reading for Clinton. And I got Tahuti Hotep. I'm not going to lie to y'all for Trump. I was just like, I can't believe it. It was one of those moments where I was like, I wish I hadn't done this reading, because when I saw him win, I was in disbelief. I stayed up 24 hours, but I was not. I mean, I wasn't. I was like, well, my oracle had indicated this. Um, but let me tell you about this. So the reason I love Tahuti is like the metaphorine in the Metu Neter. Yeah, I just leave it there. The Metaphorina Metaneter is Oyser brought peace. Oyser was this ruler in ancient Egypt that brought peace, and people were like spiritually open and conscious. And um, it was just a highly evolved time. And Oyser needed to go visit a different part of the kingdom and left his brother Set in charge. And Set was more carnal. Set was more of they say Set was a party boy. And so when Oyser left, people just kind of became more, more into like the physical way of living and kind of losing that balance between understanding, yeah, we're in the physical realm, but we have the spiritual energy. Maybe, there was we get a little bit caught up in ego. Let's just say it that way. Well, when Orser came back to get back on the, take over again, Set wasn't having it. And so Set killed Orser, cut his body into 14 different pieces and spread them out all over the world. This is a metaphor, okay? This is a metaphor, and it was not a true story. But anywho, so uh Orser's wife, and some people know Orser as Osiris. Orser's wife, who people know as Isis, I call her Aset, and her sister, they went out and found all the pieces of his body and put them back together. They remembered his body. And the one thing she didn't put back on his body was his phallus, and she used it to conceive a child who I call Haru. Most people know this energy as Horus. So once Horus grew up, Horus starts battling his uncle Set to win back the kingdom. But what ended up happening is one would win, the other one would lose, and then the other one would win, and the opposite one would lose, and it came to a stalemate. And it wasn't until Haru took went into a court of law, and who is the law? Tahuti, and allowed to worked with Tahuti, that is how Haru actually won the kingdom back. And this is really a story for how we live, the path of humanity, and how this happens. We start, in this energy of, just oneness with, the divine. When we're first born, life happens and we just become more set like. And then there's something that happens, and a lot of things happen and we get fractured and broken. And so we have to find a way. What is our set? Isis, she's the mother. We have to nurture ourselves and bring ourselves back together. But the actual enlightenment and having this life of balance and harmony and peace and abundance won't come until we actually use divine law, divine wisdom. So Tahuti represents what? The courthouse. And so one of the things that I've noticed is, even thinking about the unions, they had to get out in the streets and just come off the line and just be like, we're not going to work and we're not going back until we do some negotiations, and just having things work more in their favor. Because the Tahuti was like, you're not going to be able to use your body. You're going to have to use wisdom. You're going to have to be able to use negotiation and those kinds of things. It's like this higher intelligence. That's what Tahuti is, this higher intelligence. And then, and I even see, like, the law got overturned, and so people are going out to vote. And, it's not like war. We're not gonna be scratching and clawing and fighting. That's not what's gonna make this country better. And so we're using Tahuti instead, is what I'm trying to say. And nothing quite like seeing Trump in court. Court case after court case after court case. No matter how much people are saying they still wanna vote for him and whatever, um, it is attorneys and judges that seem to be really are the ones that are gonna make right or stop what is happening. Now, of course, we gotta get out and, and vote for those who are like me and are like, "This is a hard no." We definitely have to do that, but it's this energy of intelligence. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, it's just something I love about seeing what's her name? Letitia James, um, Judge Chutkin, and Fonnie Willis, all Black women, attorneys, judges, attorney generals. Oh my gosh. What is this? Prosecuting attorneys, DAs. There's just something about seeing the Black women in those positions. I mean, it's just like a dream in a way. And this is why I told y'all in the beginning where I stand, because y'all can see I'm sitting here like fangirling these women. But that they are Tahuti. They are so brilliant. They are so smart. And it's other attorneys out there that are doing what they do. They have teams and all of that are working with them. Even the law clerk in the working with the judge in New York is a Black woman. I'm just like, wow, it's amazing. So it is through Tahuti, ultimately, it is through the infinite wisdom of the universe that I think is what is like the lesson. It's the lesson, that we need to understand. Some of it is opening ourselves up to the wisdom, trusting the wisdom of the universe. This is the energy of the omniscience. And then another part is, um, you know, using intelligence. It's like we have to lean into intelligence. And it's like, we're fighting the exact opposite of that for people who would prefer to go back to 1776. I'll say it that way. Um, let's see here. What else do I want to talk about? I just want to kind of give a few dates to think about. So I think things are going to feel very different when we hit let's see here. This is January 21st. That's crazy. Is that MLK Day? When is MLK Day? Oh my gosh. This makes me excited. I'm glad I came on. MLK Day 2024. January 21st. Oh, 15th. I'm sorry. Well, that's close enough though. Okay. Anywho, um, so around the 21st, so I guess right when we start Aquarius. Right when we start Aquarius season. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. It gives me so much hope. So it's gonna feel very different because a lot of the stuff that kind of kicked off with this pushback against, say, for instance, all these court cases and stuff with Trump, and then we saw the unions coming together and people getting out and voting, and it's probably other stuff that y'all could tell me about that y'all have noticed, and please put those in the comments. But all of that started getting kicked off when Pluto went into Aquarius in March of 2023. Okay, so we're gonna get a new infusion. Whew, excuse me. And we're gonna be doing pretty good. Like, we're gonna go into new territory because it only went on to 0 degrees when it was there in 2023. So let's see here. February 22nd, it will hit the first degree of Pluto, and baby, whole new world, okay? So we'll see. I'll talk a little bit more about that as we move forward. I can't, I've been so focused on I need to just really make peace with what I've been seeing. That's what I'm focused on in this video. So here, we'll go into the second degree. So I will say the first 2.5 degrees of a sign it's like the pure energy of that sign. So, let me tell y'all something. We're going to see even more when it comes to getting online, working online, automation, technology. One of the things that I've just been telling everybody is get your online real estate right now, baby. Because Aquarius is the web, it's the internet. It's like, how can you use technology to work in your favor? I probably need to bring on some of the ladies who I talk to who know about AI also, because we're going to see even more. Just think about how AI just has become so big. Everybody's talking about Chat GPT. So that one is going to become even more significant. It's just like this infusion of Aquarius. Aquarius it's a very social sign, but it can be impersonal. And so I just encourage you to stay in touch with your humanity, stay in touch with your humanity, staying in touch with your humanity. Go out of your way to connect with humans. One of the things too that I've been just kind of talking about is the need for understanding. It's like I know life without technology, like all of this. And so I need to make sure I remember that and live it and stop living with technology so much, but it'll be challenging. I think that we'll see a lot of new inventions. I think we'll see a lot of progressive things start happening because that's Aquarius. It's like we making progress, everybody. We making progress. Everybody, we're getting ready to move forward. It's very futuristic, so who knows what exactly will happen in terms of new technologies. The one caveat, and I want y'all to pay attention to this, is the tech giants and the tech billionaires, the people who are powerful and in charge of tech. We'll have to be watching them because they are the ones that are going to take over now. Because Capricorn is governments and Aquarius is tech. I will say Aquarius is it's a democracy sign. Some people would even say it's like socialism because it's like everyone should be able to eat, everyone should have clothes, everyone should have a place to stay, right? So I'm going to just say pro democracy because I know socialism is something that people aren't comfortable with. I just think it's going to be more of a time where people are just like it's not right for people, just like we need to do better by people. And so it could be more people being elected who are just like, we're here to fight for everyday people or the people who folks try to walk on or whatever, uh, we'll see more people getting elected who are progressive. I'll say it that way. And I'm not saying necessarily Democratic, a Democrat in the Democratic Party, but more progressive. Maybe even the birth of a new political party, just because this MAGA party is so extreme. Um, it can't be sustained the way that it is. I'm just envisioning their power decreasing. And I believe a new political party or some parties, because I know the United States, a lot of people in the United States will say to have a two-party system. This is part of the reason why we got a problem now, because we only got a two-party system. If people try to run independent, it's almost like you can't, right? So, or maybe the independents will become more of like, instead of like hidden, they'll be more, recognized or whatever. Um, you know, uh, Aquarius is decentralized, so maybe that's why some of like Roe v. Wade was a federal law, but now it's in each state is making the decision. So a decentralized um, Roe v. Wade. and now the states are having to make the decisions or choices. I think one or two things is going to happen. All of the states are going to be, voting on this on a regular basis, but I think it'll be more of what we see, because nobody sees good. Most people, let me not say nobody, the majority of the people know this ain't right. The women should be able to choose what they want to do with their bodies. No, they not should. Like, that is the law for us. Um, or Roe v. Wade is coming back. It's one of the two, but um, I could just see things like that happening. Yeah, I guess with Aquarius, and I want to believe Roe v. Wade is coming back, but I just think that certain things are going to be more decentralized, but the power will come into the people, or the people will take power through going to vote in their states. Activism, I think, will take off. I think we're going to see, well, we potentially could see more activists winning, which is happening. Let's see here. Aquarius. Oh, another thing too, I just think learning, there's going to be something that happens with learning. I know that my thing is this. I think we'll see more STEM coming in. It's just going to become more mainstream STEM learning for children. I think children are going to start learning in a new way, with because Aquarius is intelligence. And so we're going to kind of start getting like a bigger preview, is what I'm trying to say, of what Aquarius is going to bring, because it's going to go 0 degrees of Pluto is going to be on 0, 1, 2 degrees of Aquarius. And then we go back into Capricorn. And so I'm just telling y'all, September of next year. Oh my God. Please. Okay. Whew. Are you kidding me? Sometimes I just kind of look at numbers and I'll know what to say when I see it. But I was hoping that Pluto would be back at 0 degrees of Aquarius on the day of our election. And on the day of our election, don't we know it? Pluto is on 29 degrees. So this is when I switch over into Great Mother's got it. God's got it. Oh, I'll have to see what Victor. So I love listening to Astro Victor, whatever he talks about USA. He doesn't all the time know um, certain things. Like, one of the things I remember him predicting was maybe the United States was going to break up. And I was like, that's not going to happen. It's just not. But what I will say is, like Roe v. Wade, it, got dismantled. And so, like, the states are having to make all the decisions, or, there's just so much political division here at this point now, too. Um, so there's certain things that Victor can't really, he doesn't live here. He doesn't understand it. And that's one of the reasons I like listening to him, because he actually is neither here nor there. He will tell you his political leanings too, which is he's neither here nor there on the United States politics. But I will say, when we had the last election, I could not make the prediction because I was so stressed with the last presidential election, because it was right around a Mercury retrograde or something like that was going on. And what he predicted, it happened exactly how Victor predicted it. So I'm gonna have to listen to what Victor says. Let's see here. I'm assuming it would be the 5th of November. Now, one thing I will say I like about thinking about the election happening next year is that we just had Mars meet the sun in uh Scorpio, and that's always a new beginning. It's always a new beginning. And the good thing about Pluto, if it is going to be on the 29th degree, at least it's direct, it's not retrograde on the day of the election. Thank the goddess. Mercury is in okay, let me look up election day. Election day 2024 USA. Okay, that's right. Okay. So, I love that Mercury is in, thank the goddess, Sagittarius. So, because Sagittarius is a sign of growth and expansion, hope and optimism. So that makes me feel happy. Venus is in. Oh, oh, oh my gosh! Venus is in Sag and Mercury is in Sag. And look, let me show y'all something right here. The rising sign. I'm going with what Victor says. This is called mundane astrology. I just go with what Victor says because he is my teacher and he knows astrology, mundane astrology. But out the rising sign for the United States of America is Sagittarius. I am so happy. Thank the goddess. So Venus and Mercury being in Sag, new beginnings, hope, optimism. Let's see here. The day of the election. I'm gonna put this over closer. Venus is on the 22nd degree. Okay, so she's already gone over the ascendant point. Mercury will have just come there. Ah, yeah, baby. Mars is in uh well, one thing I don't like about it being in Leo is Drumpf is a Leo if he makes it. But that sends good energy to us. Let me show you. That's in our rising sign here. So yeah, hope and optimism, new direction. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, and then what else do I see here? Jupiter is in uh Sag on the 20th degree retrograde. Little bit of a problem. That's when I'll need to listen to Victor talk. And of course, Saturn, these three are still in the same sign. So uh, Pisces for us is, so of course, the fourth house. Now, if well, it looks like the IC is in uh Aries. One, two, three. I'm still gonna count Pisces as our fourth house, even though I'm not gonna get super technical. So I do love that we have some planets down here in the fourth house that because I'm pretty sure the fourth house represents the people. But I will say, the home point or the IC is in Aries. And around that time, I think that we're gonna go in a whole new direction. Now I'm not saying who's running. I just don't think that we're gonna be going back. Let me just say that. We ain't gonna be going back to 1776. Whoever takes over is not going back to 1776. This person will be projecting out to in an Aquarian way, an expansive way, a Tahuti way. Look at this. Tahuti does actually match Sag. That gives me even more hope. Whoever wins, the country is going in a new direction. It's not going back to what it used to be. I'm gonna wait and see what Victor said. I hope that this has been interesting for you all. Oh, one last little bit. There was something that I saw on here. Ah, no, it's not what I thought. I don't know. Maybe I was looking at something else earlier. So, oh yeah, it was Will Smith's chart that I'm thinking about. So, okay, my throat is now officially cleared. Tahuti, do your thing, Tahuti. Do your thing. Do your thing, people. Do your thing. Love y'all. Thank y'all. Hope this has been helpful. Take care. Peace and love.